Good morning, everyone. This is Mike, the WanderingTook. You're not going to believe this, but I got my coffee, so it must be time for some Marvel Champions. Today, I'm going to continue the series that I thought I had already concluded. This is the Protection Racket, Part 4. This is the Protection Racket, Part 4, where I take a variety of heroes up against various bad guys, each with a protection aspect, each without stealing cards from each other's decks. So how many decks can I make with protection, essentially? Now we saw in the beginning I was playing with Venom, and he had a lot of healing cards, he had a lot of stun cards. And then we moved to Drax, who used protection more in an aggression style. Hey, attack me, keep attacking. And then we had Gamora, who was using it to deflect damage and to utilize all of the attack events to make the most out of her ability. So I decided to take the dregs, and looking at them, there was a lot of damage mitigation cards. So I thought, why don't we try Hawkeye? I haven't played Hawkeye in ages. I hear he's a decent hero, and we'll see how he fares. This one, I decided to go up against Norman Osborn. Why not? We did the first three villains. Let's just continue on. This is Norman Osborn from the Risky Business set. And hey, maybe he brought along some friends that we haven't seen in a while. We'll find out. All right, Hawkeye. 1 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense. And as an action, you can exhaust him to ready his bow. Cool. In his sports car version, action, you can spend a resource of any type to search your deck and discard pile for his bow and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So his bow's really important. Doesn't have a lot of hit points. He's only got 9. He's got 3 recover. Okay, so he's gonna need some protection. Norman Osborn is a 2 thwart villain. He doesn't attack. When he would attack, instead, you put infamy counters on his criminal enterprise instead. And when you attack him, you instead deal damage to his infamy. And then when there's 0 infamy counters on here, you flip it, he goes nuts, goes into Green Goblin mode, and that's where you can hit him. The catch being that you have to carefully balance which mode he's in, because he will scheme in this mode, and he will attack in Goblin mode. And if you flip him too often, the Green Goblin's just going to snipe you because he's got a lot of direct damage abilities. So, let us begin the main scheme here. You put the Criminal Enterprise environment into play, shuffle the encounter deck. You start with Criminal Enterprise in play with 2 per player infamy counters on it, so 2. It starts with 2 threat on the main scheme, maxes out at 7. Clint Barton, hand size of 6. I am dealing out an arrow, a quiver, nice. Power protection, Black Widow, endurance, expert mark. Wow, expert markman. Okay. So much I want to do with this. So that Black Widow is very, very valuable for getting rid of those when revealed effects that could potentially over damage Clint. But I've also got the quiver and the marksman, so I'm gonna have to make some tough decisions here. This deck also very, very much relies on getting all of his resource generation out. But there's a lot of expensive cards in here, but I've thrown in a whole bunch of things to help bring the cost of cards down. So hopefully make the most of it. And it's got some cool tricks. I hope this works out. Just because I want to see it in action. Okay, Norman Osborn also has 18 hit points. We're playing pseudo expert mode, so we're playing with the versions 2 and 3, but we're not playing with expert cards because I'm playing solo and I want half a chance. I'm already handicapped by playing a guy with no superpowers. All right, let us begin. That quiver is amazing. That marksmanship is amazing. Black Widow is amazing. Which do I want to do first? Well, okay, let's see. Spend endurance to put out my expert marksman. I can spend a resource of any type to grab my bow. See, I have to set up my bow too. So I think Black Widow's got to go. She's going to come out in the next cycle of my deck. We are searching my deck for my bow. Where's my bow? There's my bow. Why does it cost a resource? Because it costs 0 to play. That's just the way it works. Alright, so I can put the bow out for free. It's a restricted weapon and gives me +1 attack. That's nice. Let's flip over. Let us... Man, that power protection is going to be awesome later. I don't think I want my arrow at the moment. Is that stupid? I don't know. I'm 1 resource shy, of course. So we are going to... Okay, I do not want to take him out now because I know what he's going to do to me. I want to set up a little bit first. So I'm going to gamble a bit here. I'm going to spend my arrow, since I won't need it yet, to pull out my quiver. Rearrange my board state here. Yeah, there's lots of cards on a small screen. I will then exhaust the quiver to search the top 5 cards of my deck for an arrow and plop it under. Did I get anything? Yes, I got an electric arrow, which lets me stun an enemy, and a sonic arrow, which lets me confuse an enemy. I see. That might be something to help me set up. The stun at the moment doesn't matter because he is in his businessman form. Okay. What's funny now is that I can actually play that card. I do not want to, though. Like I said, this damages him, and I do not want him in his Green Goblin form just yet. So I will simply thwart 1 off the main. Ready up. Draw 4 more cards. Let's see if I get... There we go. There's my protection. All right. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, I've got a deflection. I've got Mockingbird, who's amazing. Lets me basically prevent all damage from an attack. Multiple Man. Multiple Man, when you play him, you get to play all other copies of him. As long as they're not in your discard pile, I believe is the only one. Yeah, yeah. So I know I've got them both in my deck, so I can pull all 3 out. If I can manage to find my event to put tough on all of them too, then I just get soaked for days. That's great to see. Okay, Norman Osborn. First, we've got our 1 threat on, or sorry, we're up to 2 threat on the main scheme. He attacks me, but he doesn't. Instead, he just sits back, criminal enterprising. So we are now at 4 counters on the enterprise. Then we draw a card off the top, and it is Oscorp Manufacturing. Despite objections from shareholders, Oscorp now exclusively produces military-grade weaponry. Yikes. Starts with 3 threat, and it's an acceleration icon. That's one we are definitely going to want to get rid of. And it's to me. Okay. Let us begin. We're going to spend this power protection because, yeah, it's awesome. We are going to spend deflection. And you know what? We are going to spend this electric arrow because I want to put out multiple mans. Which is also nice because it thins my deck a bit. Isn't that amazing? I do like Mockingbird. We gotta keep her out. Although I can't play her right now because of all the multiple men I have. I am at my ally limit. Again, is she someone I just toss and get her next cycle of my deck? Perhaps. She is amazing. Perhaps my plan is just to set up quickly and go. I think it is. I think that's exactly what I do. So I'm going to exhaust all 3 multiple men. To get rid of Oscorp Manufacturing. I don't want that hanging around. They're all going to thwart. Suppose I could have kept 1 up. could have kept one up and thwarted that last one with Hawkeye. Then, if I have this right, I can exhaust the Marksman, spend Mockingbird to play a Sonic Arrow. So I exhaust my bow, done. Confuse an enemy, and deal 3 damage to it. So we are down to 1 on Criminal Enterprise, which is a good place to be. But more importantly, we have confused Osborn, which means I get to flip into alter ego mode and drop some more cards for next turn. So far, so good. Ready everybody up. Back in my sports card, drawing some cards. There's Muster Courage. Enhanced Awareness, Energy, Power Protection. This is a great resource hand. A Cable Arrow, a Vibranium Arrow for dealing lots of damage. I also didn't quiver last turn. That was stupid. Oh well. Okay, Norman Osborn does not thwart, or does not scheme because he's confused. Which means the card that I get is a Private Security Specialist. He is Guard, 1 attack, 4 hit points. Now let us have some fun. Da, da, da. So much going on here. Okay, let's exhaust my quiver. Let's not forget to do that this time. Search top 5 cards for an arrow. Ooh, I've got an explosive arrow. And a cable arrow. I think the cable arrow is going to be what is going to be my get out of jail free arrow that I need. Because I can deal with the Private Security Specialist right now. In fact, I might be set up to just go for Goblin next turn. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's plan this out very carefully. That Enhanced Awareness is going to be great, especially later when I get out my Black Widow. I can use it to fuel her abilities. Muster Courage is so good, so I'm going to spend a Cable Arrow and a Power Protection for Muster Courage. Although, is that... Villain is at stage number 2, so I get 2 tough counters. We'll put one on one of these multiple men and one on myself. That Vibranium Arrow that I have in my hand is definitely Green Goblin. Green Goblin fodder. I'm going to exhaust this multiple man that I didn't use last time, so now they all have 1 hit point. And I'm going to attack normally to get rid of this Private Security Specialist. I'm going to spend the energy and put out Energy Awareness. Now I should be able to play a fair number of cards. Norman Osborn would attack, but instead he puts 2 Criminal Enterprise counters on, so infamy counters. We have 1 threat on the main. We're up to 4. It's getting up there. Mad Genius. Discard the top card of your deck for each infamy counter on Criminal Enterprise. That is a Luke Cage. Darn. Expert Marksman. No. And Momentum Shift, a healing card. Okay. That's okay, because... Oh, you know what? I should have actually drawn those cards at the end of my last turn. So I would have Luke Cage, Momentum Shift, Expert Marksman, and then my last card would have been a Helicarrier, which means the cards that I discard to that effect are a Downtime, Muster Courage again, and a Vibranium Arrow. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. Excellent. I'm going to exhaust the quiver just to get all my options on the table. I have a sonic arrow. Lovely. So I've got an expert's marksman in my hand, a vibranium arrow in my hand, and a helicarrier in my hand. Will all my resources work out? I can spend the loot cage, the momentum, and an enhanced awareness on the helicarrier, which can pay for my expert marksman, which can pay for my arrow. Love it. So I'm going to do exactly what I just said. Okay, spending 2 cards plus 1 token off enhanced awareness is 3, which will let me put out a helicarrier. It's getting really crowded here. This helicarrier I will use for a second expert marksman. And I believe we are ready to go. We are ready to go. I do not like how much threat is on there. I wish that were different. But I really want to vibranium arrow this turn. Isn't that awesome? Okay, let's just do it. Let's just simply attack for 3. That goes to 0. We flip Norman Osborn to the green goblin side. When revealed, deal 4 indirect damage to each player. Oh my goodness, one of my multiple men lost to stuff. Flip this over to State of Madness. It enters play with 2 madness counters on it. This is a timer. I have this many madness counters before he flips back, regains his composure, and starts running his company once again. So when he would scheme, I remove a madness counter from this instead. So the longer I stay in this form, the better, although there are things that will reduce those counters. Okie dokie, let's spend both expert marksman arrows, or upgrades, to pay for a vibranium arrow, which deals 6 damage to the goblin. He is down to 12. I think that worked out quite well. Next round, let's drop. Spider-Man, Strength, Quinn Carrier, Deflection, Explosive Arrow. Haven't needed to use Deflection yet. It's a good card when you only have 9 hit points. And you have buttloads of resource generation in your deck. Okay, we are up to 5. When Green Goblin then attacks, I'm going to have... Oh, I'm just going to take this because I have a tough. He attacks me for 6. This tough disappears. Isn't that rough? Level 6. Oh, I did have a Spider-Man in my hand. Sorry, maybe I should have just blocked with multiple man because I forgot my ally limit. Miles Morales is an amazing person to get into play, so I'm going to just have one of my multiple men defend that one. We're recycling the deck soon anyways. Then I can put out Miles Morales and he can have some fun. Okay, I think... Is that... No, he has to... We have to draw a card. I don't want to forget that. Because it's a time portal with a hazard icon. Well, that's crazy. Yeah, we're going to have to get rid of that. We're definitely going to have to get rid of that. Okay, let's, again, build up nice and slow because I can. I'm going to spend a strength and an explosive arrow to put out a Quinn Carrier. I'm going to use Quinn Carrier, Enhanced Awareness, and Deflection to pay for Miles Morales. Miles gets +2 to any stat I choose. Oh, I should probably put my counters on this side scheme, shouldn't I? I don't. I've got to be so careful how I do this. Okay, it's got to be thwart, first of all. So I'm going to just thwart 3 off the main. It has to happen. That's getting far too high. Exhaust the quiver. Let's see what's in my deck here. Nothing. I probably have already used all my arrows. I've got 6 cards in hand. So there's that. At least I won't be getting an additional encounter card from decking myself. All right. I want to deal damage. I have all sorts of deflection tools here. Let's see what I got. I can confuse an enemy. I can remove a threat from a scheme. We might as well do that. I'm going to exhaust Expert Marksman. We're going to use a cable arrow to just get rid of the time portal. I do not want that extra card right now. When defeated, shuffle it into the encounter deck instead of discarding it. Okay, that's what we'll do. Attacking Green Goblin for 3. Hey, look, our hit points match. 9 and 9. Readying up. This is pretty awesome, this board state. Did I even use my helicarrier last turn? I don't even remember. Enhanced awareness, defensive stance, explosive arrow, second wind, and a genius. Okay, I'm going to start stacking all my resource generators so I don't forget them all. So there was an arrow in that deck. There was just one, though. Okie dokie. We have 1 on the main scheme. We're up to 3 of 7. State of Madness is still at 2. Green Goblin attacks me. A multiple man will stand in the way, and he will take 6 damage. We are about to recycle my deck, so that last multiple man is going to go. I've got a second enhanced awareness in here. This is fantastic. Yeah, I feel like I have so much stuff going on here. This is fantastic. I love it. I'm going to spend a genius to put out a defensive stance. Whenever I would take any amount of damage, I can discard this to prevent 3 damage. I can then use Helicarrier and Quinn Carrier to put out yet another enhanced awareness. Yeah, that's a little insane, isn't it? How much is too much? Doesn't matter. Multiple man is going to simply attack. You know what? He's going to thwart, because that's going to have to go down anyways, and he's not doing too much. Spider-Man is going to come in. He is going to attack for 2. And then Hawkeye is going to attack for another 3. So the Green Goblin is down to 4 hit points. And I could also have played an explosive arrow, which deals 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. That's just another 3. That's fine. Takes him down to 1 hit point, which is a comfortable place to be just before he goes to stage 3. And now we ready up. So I've decked myself, so I've got an additional encounter card this turn. We reveal Clea in my hand. When she's defeated, shuffle her back into her deck. This is the hero Hawkeye is. Full hit points, tough defensive stance, and a rotating roster of allies that are just tickled pink to stand in front of the Green Goblin for him. Way to be a hero, buddy. But as you can see, now we're at the point where I can basically play arrows at will. And when I start cycling back into my attack arrows, it's just going to be boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And it'll actually feel like Hawkeye throwing out multiple arrows in a turn. Clea, deflection, cable arrow, second wind, vibranium arrow. Already a very good start. We put one threat on hostile takeover. He attacks. Yeah, I could just take it on the tough. Why don't I just take this on the tough? That tough is gone now. It did its job. Now the card off the top of the encounter deck is a private security guard. And the other card I drew is Payoff. +1 card per turn, eh? That starts with 2 counters on it. Oh, these early quests with so few threat on the side schemes. Oops, that's the wrong counter. Let's do this properly. So that's going to have to go, and you know how awesome I am at thwarting. Good thing I have a cable arrow in hand. Okay, we've also got... see, he doesn't have overkill. Doesn't have overkill, and that's always an issue. Let's exhaust Hawkeye's quiver. Let's see if I draw into an explosive arrow or something. I have a vibranium arrow, a cable arrow, and an explosive arrow, so we are definitely going to take that. What's great about the explosive arrow is that it's not an attack. It's just a hero action, which means guard does not prevent you from hitting the villain with it. I do have Clea in here, and I'm going to want Clea out because Spider-Man is on his last hit point. We're going to exhaust one of these expert marksmen, play my cable arrow, and just take all the threat off Payoff. We cannot have that. We are going to, I want this explosive arrow out, which means we're going to have to exhaust Hawkeye to ready the bow. And I'm going to spend my second marksman, as well as second wind, for an explosive arrow, which will deal 3 damage to everybody. Knocking off the last hit points of Green Goblin Stage 2, we are now on Stage 3 of Norman Osborn. And I believe he enters play on his businessmen's? No, he can't, because we still have State of Madness out. Let me just confirm this. There is no when defeated here, is there? Okay, yeah, I just had to check the rules, and I've confirmed that you do indeed flip right to the second Green Goblin, which also means that his that his when revealed effect goes off, which is deal 4 damage to each player. This, what do I do here? I think I just take 1 damage and discard defensive stance. Yeah. Clea is going to attack. She's going to finish off this private security specialist. And I will spend enhanced awareness. You know what? I'm just going to get rid of this 1 enhanced awareness that's just sitting here. There we go. And I will spend deflection. No, I can't. I don't have the bow. I don't have the bow ready. Do I? Because I did an explosive arrow and I did a cable arrow. My bow's not ready. I can't actually spend my vibranium arrow right now. So I won't. We will do that next turn. We will do that next turn. Okay, let's ready up. Hand size of 5. We have momentum shifts, downtime. Ooh, another multiple man is coming. I like where this is going. 1 threat on the main. Green Goblin is going to hit Clea for 3 plus 4 is 7. Clea is... Well, she's going to disappear back into my deck. We now have top card off the encounter deck, which is another private security specialist. Jeez, he's doing everything he can just to not get beaten up by Hawkeye. Where is overkill when you need it? Again, this changes everything. Exhausting the quiver. Let's find ourselves another arrow. We have a cable arrow, which removes threat. Always good to see. Looking at my hand, what is going to be useful here? I'm not feeling the downtime. I really just don't need it. I've been doing remarkably well at keeping myself at high health. I do have that multiple man. I got to get that multiple man out. Got to get multiple man out. Which means Spider-Man is just going to simply attack to deal 1 damage to this private security specialist. I can then use those two, the Helicarrier and the Quinn Carrier, as well as Momentum Shift and Downtime to put out Multiple Man, and also to put out Multiple Man and Multiple Man. Hey guys, good to see you. I think I now have enough resources to do exactly what I want to do, which is all 3 multiple men are going to attack and take out the private security specialist. Thank you, James, and James, and James. I'm going to exhaust the bow and one of these expert marksmen for a cable arrow, which is going to remove 3 threat from hostile takeover. Exhaust Hawkeye to ready the bow, spend the other marksman, and then spend this enhanced awareness that will go into my discard pile for a vibranium arrow, which will then deal 6 damage. I should have put his hit points on there. He has 22 hit points. That's a lot of hit points. Goblin is now down to 16. Still angry there, Goblin. Okay, ready up. I know I'm being lazy with how I'm rotating my cards. There's a lot of cards here. Do I want to keep deflection on the table? I kind of do. Just draw 4 cards. Ooh, an electric arrow. I can stun. Yeah, I'm glad I kept deflection. Really glad I kept deflection. But Luke Cage is better. So no, I'm not glad I kept deflection. Well, you know what? Maybe just to have it. All right. Green Goblin is going to attack me. He is hitting me for 4. How much damage can I do? I can deal 3 plus another 3. So it's still going to be a couple turns left. Yeah, he's just going to attack me for 4. I will just take it. That's 5. I can use power protection and deflection because I wanted to play deflection. more than anything. Which means I have to discard 5 cards from my deck, which is Muster Courage, Endurance, Sonic Arrow, Black Widow, and Clea. Was that worth it? Probably not. But I was able to deflect, and that's kind of cool. He deflected Goblin with his bow. I can still play Luke Cage, too. That's the awesome part. One of these multiple men will attack Green Goblin. Hang on. Don't I have a card to reveal first? Yes, of course I do. The villain stage. Another time portal. Aww. Well, that changes things again. I think both of these multiple men are going to disappear, getting rid of this time portal, which gets shuffled back into the enemy deck. I really don't mind losing them right now because I've got a nice Luke Cage in hand. Speaking of which, well, let's use my quiver first. Let's see what I can draw. There's a Vibranium Arrow. That's good to see. That's really good to see. Okay, Helicarrier, Quinn Carrier, Enhanced Awareness. Nope, Helicarrier and Quinn Carrier, that's it. With an energy, lets me play Luke Cage, who comes in tough. 2 Expert Marksmen allow me to play Electric Arrow, dealing 3 damage to the Green Goblin, and stunning him. Isn't that nice? Let's ready up. Draw 5 cards. Muster Courage, Mockingbird, Explosive Arrow, Power Protection, and Strength. Yes, that's a lot of the same cards I just looked at because my deck is really small. I've only got 3 cards left. 1 threat on the main. Green Goblin does not attack because he is stunned. Top card off the deck is Mad Genius. He attacks the hero with the fewest hit points. Well, that's me, of course. He is going to attack. Luke Cage is going to defend. That is an advance with no pips on it, so Luke Cage just loses his tough to a 4 damage attack. Can we do it this turn? Let's find out. Let's exhaust the bow and 2 Expert Marksmen for a Vibranium Arrow that's sitting in that quiver, which will deal 6 damage to Goblin. He's down to 7. I will then spend the Quinn Carrier and Helicarrier. Oh, I will ready the bow with Hawkeye's ability. Did I... Hang on a second. Did I do that right? Let's put him back. Just a second here. I want to do Hawkeye's Quiver next. Look at my remaining 3 cards, see what I have. There's an Electric Arrow in there. Let's just throw it in underneath. I have 7 left. I can do this. So I will... Yeah, we're just gonna do this with friends. Let us Helicarrier, Quinn Carrier, and Enhanced Awareness. So all of my resource cards are now exhausted. To put Mockingbird into play, let's use Power of Protection and an Explosive Arrow to pay for Muster Courage and give all 3 of these people tough, because we are at villain stage 3. And then I can attack for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage on the Green Goblin, taking him out to 0. And there you have it. Well done, Hawkeye. That way to way to get all your friends out, take advantage of the tough and the multiple blocks. I didn't even need his signature Mockingbird. I just threw it out at the end because it was fun. Bobby Morris is one of the coolest characters in the universe. Risky Business, it's fun. It really is fun. I know you can game it a little bit, and some of the cards are maybe not as strong as they could be, but it's still a fun time. And I did not totally game this. You can I guess in the beginning I did stall a couple rounds, but for the most part, I kept Green Goblin in Green Goblin form, and that was the goal of this deck, to keep this in a state where I could take high attack after high attack, keep the pressure on, but still just be able to survive without being forced to go back into Alter Ego. So there you have it. Thanks again for watching. I think this time, this actually is the end of the Protection Racket series. I'm running out of protection cards, and I just picked up Mad Titan's Shadow, so it's time to branch out into something new. Thanks again. I'll catch you next time.